Hey y'all, welcome to Seeing Easy Presents. In this video, we're going to go over our trip to Peters Mill Run in Virginia. The trail's just outside of the DC metro area, so it's a little far for us from Atlanta, Georgia, but we were on our way up to a friend's place in Western New York and figured we'd stop by along the way. For this trip, we only ended up bringing Lemonhead. It didn't make sense to bring both Jeeps. In the intro, it just said Off-Road and Ray. We're working on getting enough footage to redo the intro video. It was supposed to take us about 10 hours to the Trailhead once you factor in gas stops and stopping for food. So we decided that we were going to stop at a hotel on Sunday night and then wake up early Monday morning to head over to the Trailhead, just because we had a lot of driving after the trail as well. We stayed about 20 minutes from the Trailhead, so on Monday morning we woke up, we got on the road and started heading up to Edinburgh, Virginia. Once we were in town, we stopped at one of the local gas stations to pick up the pass to go on Peters Mill Run. Pretty much all the gas stations in the area have passes for it. So once we were able to stop, pick that up, fill up the tank, we headed on down to the Trailhead to go ahead and start our badge run.
When we got situated at the Trailhead, we actually forgot to air down the tires, which we thought, since it's a rather easy trail according to the Badge of Honor app, we might be able to get away with it, but we really quickly realized that that wasn't going to be the case, and there are a lot of rocks and bumps on this trail that made us just decide that we needed to pull over and air those down real quick. It definitely became incredibly relevant pretty early on in the trail as we approached the first big climb of Peters Mill Run. This was the first badge trail we took Lemonhead on, and it actually was the first badge trail that I ended up driving since we've had our two Jeeps. So there were definitely a few areas where, on top of being able to get some additional shots of the Jeep doing obstacles, I got Collin to come out of the car and give me a little spot, just because I'm not quite used to all of the angles being in the driver's seat, and typically I'm the one that's going out to do any of the spotting.
The trail definitely gets tight at some points. Not too concerning for pinstriping or anything, but definitely would be hard to let another vehicle pass. There are pull-off areas, so I would recommend if you're driving this just to make sure to check those out and know where they are in case you have to back up into one. We fortunately didn't have too much traffic on the day we were there, but it's always good to pay attention to those kind of pull-off areas. There are also a lot of just kind of small hills when going through this. We were driving a stock two-door Wrangler, so it didn't have too much trouble getting over the hills, but I feel like if we were there in our Gladiator, we'd probably scrape the belly just a little bit.
Even though we had the second half of our road trip to New York to do after this, we tried to stop and take breaks and really take in the beauty of this trail, including this weird little red set of leaves that was just a single branch of the tree that seemed to not have the right memo that it wasn't fall yet. And then additionally, as we continued forward a little bit more, we came on this lake, which was a really cool photo opportunity to take some pictures of the Jeep, stretch our legs for a moment, and really just take in the scenery.
Video, we tried out a lot of new camera angles, just kind of playing around with the cameras that we have. A lot of them turned out really well, some not so much, but that's always going to happen as you're trying to figure it out. Since we filmed this video, we got a couple of new cameras as well, so we're excited to get those out on the trail in the future, but we hope you guys are really enjoying the footage we have of Peters Mill Run, and hopefully it inspires you to get out there and do some trails yourselves.
Along the second half of the trail, there were a few offshoots and an area where it looked like the trail had previously been but has since been redirected. It was well labeled, and we additionally were running Gaia on our phone, which really helped us know the right direction to go and kept us on track as we continued through on the trail.
It hadn't rained much in the days leading up to us coming to this trail, so there weren't too many mud puddles or anything for us to worry about. Just enough to get a little mud on the underside of the Jeep and make it look like we actually go off-road, but nothing to be concerned about. I could definitely see this trail being more difficult, a lot more slippery if it had rained a lot leading up to it, but fortunately we didn't have to deal with that.
northern end of the trail, there were some curves that had pretty decent banks on the side of them. You could probably avoid them altogether. I think it was wide enough, but definitely one of the few areas that you could do a little bit of a choose your own adventure and drive a little bit further up the bank to get a little bit of that off-camber action. We usually stuck kind of more in the middle just because we weren't trying to get wild tipping going on, but you could definitely see the tire marks up at the top where there have been people kind of testing their limits a little bit more and having a little bit of fun on the trail.
Jeep Badge of Honor app rates this trail as a 2 to a 4. Overall, I'd say, at least in the conditions we did it in, that it leans more on the 2 side. There wasn't anything particularly challenging. Stock Gladiator might scrape its belly a little bit, but it definitely wouldn't struggle getting through this trail. I don't know that it'd necessarily be worth it to drive the 10 hours for us, but it was definitely nice to have the opportunity to drive past here on our way to somewhere else, pop over and get the badge. The trail took us about 3 hours, but we definitely stopped to take some pictures, set up some cameras, etc. You could probably run the whole trail in about an hour if you were really pushing through. So it's not that long, it's not that difficult. It's definitely a badge I recommend getting if you're in the area.
Thanks for watching our experience at Peters Mill Run. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like it and maybe subscribe to our channel. If you'd like more Jeep content, we've got an Instagram, Lemonhead Jeep, where you can follow us along on our journey.